also knew that when something wasn't working, we would fix it up, and we got it from the folks themselves. People, we had that sense of urgency that we cannot have people wait for a settlement site. Naghihintay tayo sa settlement site. In the meantime, people were living in tents. One tent even burned. It's not our tent, but one tent even burned. And at the same time, we said, well, we cannot wait for people to have everything fixed, so we started fixing the homes right away. That is why today, because of that flexibility and that forward-looking, attitude, nakagawa na tayo ng 66,000 homes. We are working, remember, in 9 provinces because this typhoon affected 9 provinces and 3 cities and about over almost 500 barangays. And lahat yan, imagine that, napasukan natin ang mga British nasa Iloilo, ang Koreano. I did not mention the Koreans. The Koreans were there in Carles. There were people in Cavite. Citibank was in Tabon-Tabon. Hong Kong Shanghai Bank was with us in Antique, if I'm not mistaken. At Asian Air was with us in Calibo, and they're not yet finished. So makita nyo, nakaayos ang pagtrabaho sa mga bahay at mga livelihood na binibigay. Also, we made sure that, that's why I use the word renewal. We're not in the business just of recovery. We are in the renewal of values. We don't want people to be, asking for food all the time. We want them to be able to withstand all the typhoons, all the challenges in this crazy, crazy world today where you have wars, where you have all kinds of super disasters. And so we wanted an attitude in our people. So the objective was to have community resiliency. Dapat matatag yung at resilient yung komunidad na makakalaban sila, na hindi sila magpapanik, alam nila kung saan sila tatakbo, alam nila kung anong klase ang gagawin nila para sa ganon bahay o mga gamit para sa ganon mabubuhay at makakapag-continue ang mga tao. Renewal, ang tinatawag natin ay values. Recovery is you can build your home anytime, but without values, with a poor attitude, you're not going to have the virtue or the courage to stand up against all the challenges in life. There's a cycle of disaster and poverty in our country. We're a very disaster-prone country. So pagka disaster-prone country, makikita nyo, noong nagtatrabaho kami dyan, can you imagine this? Isipin ninyo, we were in the middle of a Bohol earthquake. That is a very big disaster by itself. We lost 6 churches at the very least, and there were a lot of people who don't. We were working on that. There was a war in Zamboanga. We were working on that. We had a field hospital there. We had we're working with the ICRC, bringing in food, medicine, and everything, including water. We still have 3 tankers there in that area that we're now distributing to the Lumad system. While Haiyan happened, we had just finished with the earthquake in Negros Oriental. We just finished with a typhoon in Central Luzon, which even inundated my own city. And we were cleaning up so that leptospirosis would not happen. And even after the typhoon had started, there was another typhoon, Hagupit, Ruby, that last summer. So you can see, we are in a country where climate change is really showing its face, and we're up to the challenge. Not because the Red Cross is there, but because we're creating a culture of being able to renew ourselves each time and to fortify ourselves to become even stronger. At least that is our hope. At least that's our effort. And we will never cease. And that is why you see ceaseless recovery and renewal. Hindi tayo titigil. In fact, we're still in Mindanao. Our chapters are there. We got hit by Lando now. And Lando, we're going to Nueva Ecija. We've been there for the last several days. We were averaging 2 hours of sleep every year here. Our volunteers, I cannot say enough of them. Our volunteers were out there. Can you imagine as they were in Haiyan, this time in Lando, pumapasok sila sa madilim na gabi, at makikita nyo, mataas ang tubig, they were able to rescue an awful lot of people, even rescuing 5 people in a van. Although they lost 2, they died, nakapag-rescue pa sila ng 5. So this is the renewal. We also renew the Red Cross. We also reinvent the Red Cross all the time to make it stronger to meet all these things. We learn from all our disasters, and we make sure that people learn as well, and we get more volunteers. That is why there are lessons learned here. You see that you now have an operations center here in the Red Cross, that we get the information as much as possible, just in time, all the time. We have more volunteers now. When you go there later on, I invite the cameramen and the media. When we push a red dot there, the volunteer's name will go up there and we will know who is working in a particular area. When we push a green dot, we will show a first aider that has been trained here, that are committed to go when there's an earthquake and to be able to bring services. When we push the doctors, you will see all the surgeons of the country in their different locations because we have a memorandum of agreement with them. When you push nurses, they will be there. When you push the military, all their camps will appear. All the airports, all the ports and the seaports will appear there. So you can see, we have to learn from this. This is the forward-looking aspect of a disaster. We cannot sit in a corner and cry or keel over and die. We're not going to grin and bear it. We're going to get back up there and meet all challenges. And while we were doing that in the last year, we have a Filipina in Ebola country with the IFRC. We sent 29 people from the Red Cross. And the first 2 babies born in cesarean section were born in the Nepal earthquake. And there was a 29-man team composed of doctors and ERUs, emergency rescue unit, that went to Nepal. And they were called back again to Canada for further training. The Canadians have put up, we used to have just tents. Now we have emergency field hospitals with the Canadians, the Norwegians, and the ICRC working together. And the Rotary Club is providing us with 2 boxes of operating or surgical system, and we're getting one coming soon, complete surgical system. So there's a mass casualty event. We would be more ready than the last time. I don't want to occupy your time with all this. I just wanted to give you a flavor of the dedication, the enduring spirit, the courage, and the sacrifice of many of our volunteers. And our staff as well, because our staff may be paid, but they're also volunteers. There's no overtime. There's no time. We spend long hours here. We spend long hours on the field. And, and I'm happy to work with the world. If there's a new world to be won, you're seeing it being won by the Red Cross movement. Everybody working together. Even Ukrainians, even our Middle Eastern, Palestinians. We have Qatar here. Qatar Red Crescent is here. UAE was here. And I can tell you, all of them were working in the same team, in the service of alleviating human suffering and uplifting human dignity. You all have your handouts here, and pretty soon after that we can bring it over there, but in the meantime I will just close down and say, what you see around you are the proud Red Crossers and Red Crescent societies and ICRC, but really acting as one movement. It's called the Red Cross movement. And I can tell you, what you see around here is just a representation of those who are very dedicated out there on the field. Those who are out there who are keeping vigil in the camp in Surigao with the Lumans, or for that matter, going to places like Maguindanao when there's conflict, when the IDPs or internally displaced people are there, providing water, providing food. What you see here is just a profile of what we do in the Ilocos Norte, how we think in terms of maybe what we need now is more crops than houses for Lando. We're always thinking, we're always trying to find out who are we helping, and it's never about us. It's always about the beneficiary. The beneficiary. Well, I'm trying to look for a better word for beneficiary. Because we benefit people? No. We uplift people. I keep repeating that. We try to renew the confidence of people. That's not beneficiary working. It is really uplifting and creating a new person that will come out of the example of the many people who work out here, and not only here, but throughout the whole world. Challenges are huge. We're soon going to have all kinds of resources here. We now have rescue trucks. We now have for earthquakes. We have we have cooperation with all the firefighters in the country. But let me also say to you that because Yolanda was in an archipelago where MacArthur landed, it was completely isolated by the damage it caused. Nahirapan tayo pumunta doon. By February, I hope we will bring in a ship that can land on any beach in this country, or for that matter, beyond the Philippines. And we have already put the down payment on the ship, and it's going to come down here. We can bring all the logistics out here, so that we could immediately go into the task of alleviating human suffering and supporting the people so that they can get back on their lives right away. It will have a landing platform. It will lift that platform when it's in the water so it can go throughout any part of the Philippines or even in the middle of the ocean to be able to bring relief. That is very ambitious, yes. But you know, the whole world was not discovered by people who are timid. They went to the edges of the world and look for the monsters that they can conquer. And this is what we're doing here. The monster of disaster must be domesticated, must be tamed. And we must put courage in the hearts and hope in the hearts of every person that is in need. So today, when you look at this, take a look at what can happen and hope will not happen, but at the same time, find faith, find strength, find hope in all the houses that have been built. Everywhere. And it's very transparent, by the way. One thing I'm proud of, makikita niyo, lahat ng nabigyan ng bahay, may pangalan. May papakita namin sa inyo. Pati bubong niyan, kulay pula. At pag pupunta ka doon, malalaman mo kung sino nagbigay. At hindi na kayo kailangan pumunta. We have all their names in every barangay. You know, we have red roof houses. They're not red houses, they're red roof houses, mind you, so please be careful with your pen. But at the same time, you have to make sure that more than that, they were also provided with some support, not just a home, which they built with us, but the livelihood support to be able to make them recover. Can you imagine that? I'm really very proud. And I'm sure many people before me are very proud of what the Red Cross movement has done here. I hope my mother is really proud. 63 years a volunteer in the Red Cross. And you can see all these houses. If I showed you all the houses, we will spend the whole night and day tomorrow para makita ninyo. But that is just Haiyan. We have also built 66,000 homes before Haiyan in the last 10 years. We have not been sleeping while everybody is suffering. We have worked hard, and we don't call it suffering, but we call it an honor and a privilege to be able to help our fellow man, to lift him up from the poverty of spirit